Well, this is not for all of you sitting inside. I'm trying to reach the people who are standing outside. So if they can hear me, hopefully we will start very soon. I can request all of you to come inside and be seated. Okay, I think we can start. Yes? Yeah, so allow me to introduce to you our next speaker. It's actually going to be a lightning talk on DeSci agents, autonomous research workflows beyond finance. And we have with us David Wang, who is an entrepreneur, investor, interim executive, and Forbes 30 Under 30 honoree with a background in management consulting, private equity, and technology. He is the founder of OpenDeSci, a centralized AI science education content platform. I'm sure if you're familiar with the DeSci space, you know David, so he doesn't need a very elaborate introduction, but we can definitely give him a big round of applause as he takes us into this very informative session. An applause, please. And over to you, David.
Hello guys, thank you so much for having me, AI Agent Summit Berlin. I'm David Wang, serial entrepreneur investor and building right now my fourth company, OpenDeSci. And today I'm happy to share you a bit more insights about a very specific use case in the science space, how AI agents can make a really impact. And I developed this presentation in collaboration with Professor Dr. Christian Abeglin. He's the president of the St. Gallen IMT Business School, so you're getting really like latest insights. Before we jump into it, maybe a short introduction about myself. A lot of people know me already the space as well. So I'm always looking for bold people, always happy to connect, always like to invest in new people. So whenever you have a cool idea or venture idea, please connect with me. Happy to explore synergies, how I can help you guys. Now we jump directly into the topic, which is super interesting. We know all in the science space, we know from university, we all have that one professor, and we know science is actually like a snail. It's like very slow paced. You do research, it takes time. And one of the bold hypotheses, what I identified is like AI will turn research from slow and manual to fast and autonomous. What does it mean directly? Especially I see sometimes in the younger audience where people try to build new companies, I already recommend you choose the industry which is big enough, but always start small and think big. And one of the biggest industry, or what is quite big, is like global R&D. The global market's like roughly 3 trillion large, with a CAGR for 5-6%. And then also like every year, more than 3 million new research papers are getting published. And the big question is, who's going to read this? That's like a really big challenge. And now there are like AI agents where already in place where you can, with the help of AI, you can really facilitate to consume the content and derive the right things what you need. And to just go a step further, I think some people have a scientific background. Just like the typical, I would say, life cycle of a scientific publishing process or research process. You have a question, literature, hypothesis, experiments, analysis, and then in the end, you write your paper. And what right now happening already, where a lot of people don't know, like AI can really empower each step. And we all know how slow or how much time it takes to do research. The best example, I'm sure everyone has a friend in his social circle do like a PhD degree or something. And we all know they all say, oh, I'm still writing my thesis, it takes time. Even I know if you do your bachelor or a master thesis, it takes time. With AI, you can really empower it. And I wish when I was a student, I had AI. I will do my homeworks way faster. And one interesting part is like now what I can give to you is, especially if you want to go more deeper, I think a lot of people already use like tools like OpenAI, Research, Perplexity, or even Claude. They latestly published like Claude Fable and Mythos. But there are also already AI scientific tools, like specifically like Sakana AI or AutoSR. And these are like wonderful tools where you guys should maybe try it out and play for it if you could go more deeper in the scientific research space. And a lot of people in my social circle saying, oh, science is actually very dry content, which I agree. But to be very honest, like all the latest innovation, what's happening, or things what's going on in the right now in the public world, it all started with science and global R&D and research. And I just give you a best example. Right now, thanks to OpenAI and ChatGPT, AI became recently public and mass consumable. But if I reflect myself 10 years ago when I studied computer science, I had already AI at my university where we have game theory, how you have like computer games using AI where the players play each other and so on. So there's way more opportunities, especially I think in the younger audience where people say, hey, I want to build the next company or something when you try to find a new venture idea. I heavily recommend you go into science, find a potential market field where you can build a new venture. And now I have some like paper numbers so on. I've done some research in collaboration with the professor Abeglin. We saw like there's a huge potential. AI agents are everywhere. Right now I just drop a big number. We know the market is big enough and it's growing very fast. And but what does it mean right now? The market's growing, is estimated like by year end of 2030 up to 53 billion market of AI agents. And this is like an area where you can enter and play. And especially if you go more deeper, what's happening right now? There's still a lot of untapped potential in the AI agent space, what I noticed, especially enterprise AI. I think most of all Fortune 500 companies, they're very aware about AI and they know AI is important. But what we figure out is like I recently read a paper of McKinsey that actually said one funny quote. Adoption is happening, but only like 1/4 of all Fortune 5 companies really have applied AI agents in production. So there's still a lot of potential where AI agents can help and make an impact in that industry. And right now we're coming back like, why you need decentralized science, or why one of the use cases why you need like decentralized science for AI agents. Actually, there's like 3 major use cases which are very interesting where you can use decentralized science, especially which is like blockchain related. One is like whenever you need provenance and identity. Second is like reproducibility. And the third is like if you like funding, attribution, if you tokenize something. And now it's gonna more like interesting what I'm right now building, which is very interesting. As I said in the beginning, I told you about that science become like very, very dry and hard to understand. And right now I'm building my 4th company, which is like OpenDeSci. And this is what I'm right now building. I try to build science as accessible as social media, and what we're building is like a science super app for the next generation. So what does it mean directly? Oh yeah, by the way, we are also officially sponsor of a Formula 2 race team. You see the race car. This is also great for marketing. And yeah, so what we are right now building is a very, very interesting, especially if we go too deep what I mean with a super app. Literally what we're building is like the TikTok for science. We developed like a agentic news feed where we use AI agents, which we scroll the internet, where it shows you the latest content about science, longevity, health, all kind of related content, what you like to see. And then what we have also built with for help for AI is like an AI fact-checking tool. We know nowadays on social media, there's so much information crowded, and with AI, we can double-check this. The other solution, what we also develop is like, we all know there are like a lot of like scientific platforms, journals, papers, and so on. We develop kind of like a solution similar like Perplexity, where we have like a AI research search function where you can search the latest scientific papers, professors, and so on. And we all know scientific papers are hard to read. What we do is like with one click with help of AI, you can summarize in a more simple way. And what does it mean right now in development? This is also very, very interesting, what I learned. My background was in computer science and business. I know all the agile development frameworks, Scrum, and so on. Now the world has changed. My hypothesis right now, if you have a smart engineer and with the help for AI agents, you can easily reach a productivity level what like a 20+ person team, engineering team was 3 years ago. And if you're right now developing right now new products, I heavily recommend you like 3 engineering main tools. One is like Claude Code, because of course everybody knows Claude. Second is Cursor. You recently heard SpaceX has acquired Cursor. And CloudBot. And what we have developed is like, we became way more efficient. I remember like years or times ago when I was developing, let's say we have like a new feature what we develop. We have the sprint planning, then we engineered, and then sprint review. It takes up to 2 weeks to have like a new feature done. Now I come up with a new idea or a feature or improvement. I give it to my CTO as a feedback. He pushed this into the AI agentic engineering tools, and then over a couple hours we already have a new feature. And that's the speed of how you can engineer way more faster. And the great benefit, which I tell you right now nowadays, is like try to use AI engineering tools to build your new ventures. Nowadays it's way more faster and easier to pivot a new venture idea than years before. Just give you an example. In the past, let's say you need like $100,000 to develop that app. I would say right now it's just a friction. And this is in the end my keynote. So thank you so much for having me. And please connect me. OpenDeSci is more than a platform. Happy to connect with you guys and explore synergies. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David. We will take 2 questions from the audience, if you have any. Yes, please.
Oh yes, the first question is asking if you can download this app. Right now we do like a family and friends testing with like 50 beta users. And this is also what I recommend you. Once you have developed an app or an idea, go directly live and ask your friends. The best users are always your friends. So if you want to test out the app, please contact me. I'm happy to give you Apple developer access. And I need your feedback. Yeah.
Thank you for the presentation. I'm curious, so you are doing like decentralized research, right? Could you elaborate why we need this happen decentralized, and like why it's important, you know? Because let's say what I see in the agents environment, so like we just don't have like good infrastructure, like not decentralized. I mean like even centralized. So to do the research in science, I don't know, in business, whatever. I mean, is it like adding some complexity, you know, to the process? So first of all, maybe we just need it like more easy or something like this. Why we need this decentralized?
This is a very general question. I always provide the answer where people a lot of challenging why you need the blockchain technology, the distributed the ledger technology. To give a very clear answer on this, you only need to use having the blockchain if you don't need the mediator or you trust the mediator. That's the reason why you're going to put it on chain. Otherwise, the use case will be not interesting enough. The second point, what I also right now seeing, which has a huge opportunity from the Web3 background, is right now the world is adopting a lot. Web3 become more institutional, more mass consumable. And what I see right now, because I invested also a lot of projects, is like, I see the big trends in the future are Web 2.5 companies. You need to have huge Web 2 adoption, solve a real problem and create value to the society. And then you use Web3 technology to solve a specific problem or a challenge in your ecosystem. And for example, what we do in OpenDeSci is like when we started OpenDeSci, we were at the beginning pure Web3 focused. And I made my interviews and I realized, we might go to the wrong direction, because in the end you build if you build a product which nobody is using. That's the reason why we shifted heavily to Web 2 adoption first, where we develop a super app in the consumer space. And then once we have enough traction and volume in the platform, then we can think about it, okay, how we can use Web3 blockchain technology to solve like a specific use case. One challenge is like, for example, incentives of the creators. If you pay them via fiat out, it's a bit inefficient. Stablecoins payment is one simple use case. The other use case is like credentials. You can put like the papers on chain, which are verifiable, and so on. But at the moment, what I really recommend you for the young people is like when you start to venturing, always focusing on the problem first. The blockchain is actually just a solution. You need to first analyze what's the key problem, and then in the end, okay, what kind of solution should I take? But the best example is like, or the other simple example, the real world example, for example, I need to go from A to B. And the solution is like, I'm going to walk to there, I take the underground, I take the car. But in the end, you need to assess what's the best solution for this. Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't forget about the Android users, as we are 3 times as much.
Oh yes, that's a very fair question. At the moment, we're just developing on iOS, and there's a huge potential in Android because Android is a growing fast market. Especially what I noticed where we put also on our agenda is like, in the end, we are like a science education content app, and the most impact where OpenDeSci make is actually in, I call it like low GDP countries, development countries, and these people mostly cannot afford an iPhone, which I totally understand, where I think it's just like a huge impact, yeah.
Thank you, David, for telling us all about the non-financial agent use cases. Can we have a round of applause for David, please?
Thank you so much.
We will now move into another panel discussion, a topic that I'm also quite curious about, what agents will actually do for users, markets, and machines. And to moderate this session, we have with us Dr. Nina-Luisa Siedler. Please join me in welcoming her onto the stage with a round of applause. Dr. Nina is an advisor of crypto-native companies, financial institutions, and boards on EU digital assets regulation with a strong focus on MiCAR implementation. Dr. Nina, may I please request you to invite the rest of the panelists onto the stage and introduce them as well. Over to you.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me. Yes, I would actually like to ask all panelists to come to stage. So we have Anna Franziska Michel, Rafael Schultz. You could have stayed here with me, David. Please come up. And we have Sam Restless. Thank you very much. And actually, I'm having the 4th mic here. Anna, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, I'm Anna. I'm one of the co-founders of YouNow, and we are building an AI agentic structure for product organizations. It's basically an autonomous enterprise twin. We talked before about it. And we're cutting actually down all the processes product organizations like fashion companies are doing. We analyze data until the product is generated automatically by agents, constantly scored by sales confident agents, because the most important thing is that they sell everything. And then it is moved to production and social media and online shops and so on.
That's great. That is part of what a lot of people are looking currently into. Right. David, you already introduced yourself, so I would maybe skip you for the time being and ask Sam.
Hello, I am a software engineer, and I have been building different applications, decentralized applications for the Ethereum ecosystem during the last years. One of the applications that I have built is EVM CRISPR. It is an application that allows you to describe in very easy words which are the interactions that you are going to do with the blockchain. It can be any EVM blockchain. And it is going to execute them, or you can also simulate them before executing them. So this pairs very well with AI agents, because you can make the AI agent create the simple script. You see what it's going to do, and it is very easy to read. And then you can also simulate it. So the AI agent is also very good at knowing when to stop, because it gets the goal that it needs, and it tells you what you have to do.
Right. So we're having AI, blockchain and AI in both cases. And Rafael, what are you bringing here?
Yeah, thanks, Nina. 8 years RWA, so digital assets and investments, mainly on security tokens and bonds. And since beginning of the year, we are connecting to our ecosystem also an agentic layer. Basically, any investor can use his LLM to connect with his bank.
All right. So our topic is the combination of AI and blockchain on this panel. Interestingly enough, we had exactly that topic last week in the German Parliament. And discussed if there is, a genuinely exciting combination of both technologies, or it seems a little bit that, the discussion about blockchain got quieter over time, and AI is now in, every discussion and every event. So the question is, do you still see a good use case for combining both of these technologies? And maybe Sam, I think you were the closest to work on this.
Okay, thank you. I think that we can distinguish between using AI to create things in the blockchain and using the blockchain to be helpful for the AI ecosystem, right? I think that they are two different things. One thing is way clearer, that nowadays it's very powerful. AI is very good at programming, and blockchain is basically a programming ecosystem. So AI is very good at whatever you need to do inside the blockchain, and it is literally, before you probably needed very specific coders that learn about Solidity for some years. Now, probably you don't know them. You still need to know what you are doing. That's the most important thing when you are moving funds in the blockchain. But you probably have less problems on doing stuff in the blockchain, right? The other thing is if AI will use blockchain for something in the future. Right now, I don't think that AI needs blockchain more than the payment that we have already been discussing in previous panels. But maybe in the future, AIs can create a DAO or whatever. It's something that it's not happening nowadays.
It's a good point. It's a good point that maybe AI does not need blockchain. We don't want to hear this here, of course, in the room. But next week, Stripe is having his day and is showing their version of payments without a blockchain. Even they are using their own stablecoin system. And we see also like massive development in the non-blockchain space around agentic microtransactions. But of course, this is then a centralized environment, which we blockchainers then always question. But in the end, of course, the users, the retailers don't care. Maybe centralized versions are also nice because they take responsibility, a responsibility which in AI or in agentic businesses right now no one is taking care of. Anthropic is not taking responsibility. OpenAI is not taking responsibility. Everyone using AI is running it on its own risk. And yeah, I think I prefer the blockchain solutions, of course, because it is a timestamp. For us, it is like a no-brainer. When I imagine that I have now 15 agents in 10 months, handling my social life with my family, taking care about my investments, but also maybe doing all the taxation stuff on my phone automatically, which would be a dream to come true, then then I need to have any kind of control of AI. And then in the end, a time-stamped transaction, like what these agents are paying or how much they cost, for me as a human will be the only way to measure what they're actually doing. Because I will never look in the history of my 15 agents and to check who was doing when, what, and how.
But cannot an agent then also measure that and test it and take care of?
Absolutely,
What
yes.
is the difference?
But then you have like this, what kind of agent is that then? Is it a new Anthropic
It's a
security
super,
agent?
super agent.
Yeah, nice thought. Yeah, actually I never thought about it, like the hyper agent.
Maybe a short comment from my side. Why I always like scout new venture ideas and opportunities in Web3. And one of the next big trends what I see in the Web3 space regarding AI agents are definitely like a payment ecosystem between agents. Because agents are doing kind of like work, and if you have a lot of agents and you need to incentivize them or pay them each other, you have a lot of microtransactions. And having microtransactions on a fiat level using like Stripe, MasterCard, and so on, it's very inefficient because the fees are so high. It's rather making sense if you have like a protocol where you put all the microtransactions between the agents who doing kind of work and incentivize them. And this is like one of like a big use case where I saw like at a recent conference where people speak about them. Even recently, I think OKX with the X-Layer protocol, they started initiatives there. And this is like one of the field where this could be like a big topic coming up where AI agents, the payment between AI agents. Because in the future, what I'm guessing, more and more AI agents adoption will come. And once more adoption coming, these agents need to be paid, somehow incentivized.
So we're back to the payment use case, right? Clearly, payment is something with the stable coins specifically that is that had very much in the focus of everybody. But I would like to question you: don't you see further use cases for the combination of blockchain and AI, specifically when it comes to trust questions that go beyond mere payment function?
I mean, I'm coming from fashion apparel industry, and of course blockchain can always use to trace sustainability, right? Or digital product passport. I think that could be a use case mixed with agents. But also, I don't know if we can do everything with agents now, That's my question, but I also said right now.
Yeah, but everything. For sure, all this paperwork thing, what any neobank is right now offering me, that I need to scan my receipt when I do this, so this is still a manual process. Maybe it remains. But I think indeed, like in the area, like when I talk to founders or to also specifically VCs, we have a large network, of course, with VCs from Asia, but also the States, Europe. Most of the American VCs right now already are experimenting aggressively inside of their family with agents on a simple thing, like the iCalendar is managed by an agent.
We do that too.
And then also the children have an agent for the calendar. And then specifically for families who are living internationally in different time zones.
My husband is American.
So here you go. So I think that's maybe behind the everything, right? Even simple use cases which are not connected to payments.
Maybe it sounded like I don't believe in the blockchain thesis anymore. I actually believe it as much as always. I think that it has to be independent on the AI. I think that if blockchain is a technology that is going to be good for the world, it's going to be good for the AI as well, basically. But it is independent of how AI is going to manage. Going beyond payments, I think blockchain is good at managing value. Not only you do something, I have to pay you, I pay you in a very efficient way, which it does, but also allows people to manage value in ways that we could not do before. We have seen the biggest crowdfundings in the blockchain space. They were not possible in any way before the blockchain appeared, because how can you do a worldwide crowdfunding if it's not by issuing an IPO of a company. The only way that you can do that is by international system that is neutral to everyone. That's it. It allows to manage money in a collective way. It allows to. There are many use cases right now. I need to make my mind.
Maybe let me jump in where I see enormous potential, because right now people saying, okay, can I trust AI? Right now it's still hallucinating. And I see much, much more potential, because right now there was in the past a big race of large language models. We know when OpenAI started. And what we noticed, like the big challenge nowadays, the value creation happening is not in the large language model. We see OpenAI as the first mover, then DeepSeek came and the other players and so on. And where the real value creation happening is actually how you can apply large language models to real world use cases to solve specific problems. And at the moment where a huge potential is coming up, also like building new ventures or new ideas, at the moment all these large language models, they are trained by public data from the internet, Google and so on. But where there's much more big data existing are private data, especially enterprise data and so on. And these are like a field where there's still enormous potential to optimize in the areas. And the second topic, what I'm also saying right now, a lot of people right now say, okay, can I trust AI decision making? I have a very bold answer. I think over the time, the next years or 10, 20, 50 years, I'm 100% sure that AI will make the better decision making than the human being. And this is like a bold answer what I'm putting on the field. But I just give you an example. For example, right now autonomous driving reached a really huge cars can drive autonomously. We see Waymos and so on. And I'm sure, this is a bold question, maybe it's not happening in our generation, not to our kids, but maybe in 50 or 100 years or even earlier, human beings are not allowed to drive cars anymore, because the ecosystem is completely autonomously, where the AI, the robot, the system makes better decision making and make driving cars more safe. So in the end, you're just a passenger in the system.
And I think actually that is a good point, right? Once agents do not only determine software or kicking off something digitally, but entering the physical space, like your example with the car, or think of drones or whatever, at that point in time, it really becomes important that we can trust and that we can verify the decisions. Where had they been coming from, right? So was it the software or was it the device? So who caused actually what action in the physical world? Would you agree?
Yeah, I wanted to say, I think we can trust already, because you have just to combine agents in the right way, or like testing agent in between. And then you can, I would not say in 50 years, I would say they do better decisions now already, right? If, for example, some industries are not selling 70% and you sell better, then the decision is better, isn't it?
I would say every once in a while. So currently, I would say the chances are still 50-50. And it really very much depends, in what area we are talking about, right? So I just said, in the speaker lounge, I said, in the legal space where I come from, AI doesn't really work that well because the knowledge is hidden behind paywalls. So the typical AI public system cannot access really deep knowledge in legal for the time being, because it is not publicly available, right? So I think it will depend upon what area you're talking about.
It's a nice example. My first use case with OpenAI was nearly 3 years ago, and we designed simple contracts for freelancers for some marketing designs. And that's funny that you say that, like the legal thing. Of course, a proper legal consultancy is like maybe now possible with some startups who are taking care for that. But back then, for us, it was like the low-hanging fruit to take a very simple agreement, and it just there were no legal bindings behind it. Yeah, but it was anyway for a founder helpful to have a proper document to onboard some designers. So yeah, may I ask here in the round maybe to come back from the future and from other use cases. Who of you have been granting access to his agent, like Claude or OpenAI, to his computer?
To the regular one that you use in every day, or separate one?
I guess the main one, which we all
Main
use.
one?
Like. But like I mean it in a way that he can access your drive and then on his own like delete files and open files, like this confirmation. Who was giving this confirmation to his computer?
You mean root or not root?
Well, root. No. Okay. Yeah, just wanted to check the root level here in the room.
So the trust level does not seem to be that high yet. But I guess you're right? It's just a question of time. When the context gets more rich, then I think also I would agree that most decisions will be better placed in the hands of an AI agent instead of a human.
I think at least most of the times, in most of the cases, there will be a professional behind every AI decision. Maybe not in the very far away future, but if you are a lawyer that use AI, you can use AI, but the final responsible is yourself. The same way a software engineer, when they publish to Linux, when they publish a pull request to Linux, they are the ones who make responsibles of what they are providing is something that they will have written by themselves. Does it have sense?
Do you see any connects to the digital identities that are coming up right now? Because by the end of the year, we will all get our EU digital identity wallets, and for now, it's not mandatory to use it. But I am afraid this will not stay that way for much longer. And I think a lot of things will be enabled by digital identities, but we will also lose a lot of privacy again in that next wave of development. Any opinion towards digital identities?
I mentioned it in another panel. We were checking on that from the investment perspective. So can I connect my LLM to a broker or a bank, and can he then do investments for me? So no, he's not allowed to do it. Can he then inherit maybe my trust score, me as a user in this bank already? He could, if he would be a human manager or a robo-advisor inside of this bank, but the connection to an AI agent, what we have seen is not there yet. And in eIDAS 2, this is the wallet you mean, which is coming up, we also could not identify that connection. So this seems to be a missing link still.
That's interesting, specifically since we know how long it takes to amend these EU regulations, right? So I guess we will be lagging behind with regard to that space again.
Maybe it's a chance, because if it's not regulated, then we have a little bit of wild, wild west area.
Yeah, there are regulated use cases for digital identities, right? And if it's not included, then it will not be possible to use it for that purpose. So you can use it like in everyday social media context, or online purchases, stuff like that, but presumably not for payments, for example, anything finance related. Medicine, healthcare.
Beyond payments, could I give him my Instagram account, and then he's starting to post on behalf of mine?
Absolutely.
That be possible?
Absolutely. I think that's already happening, right? So what's still missing? Assuming that the technology is largely already ready, what is the biggest obstacle for actually reaching scale with the use cases today?
we work with enterprise companies. I would say mindset, fear is a big obstacle. Yeah. It's it.
Mindset and fear.
Yeah,
So fear because they are afraid of becoming liable for something that they do not understand, or
no, fear to lose their jobs. For example, if I go from the team part, if I come in there from the product development team or marketing team part, they are afraid to lose their jobs, so they don't connect me to the C-level. That happens sometimes. And then also mindset. I mean, the C-level is coming from the upper part, and C-level wants to transform the company. Then the mindset of all the teams need to change to work differently, because they are used to work like we meet, we make a decision, and then we execute. But now we execute, control. You know, it's the waterfall. Yeah, the workflow is different now, so they have to change their mindset, and it's very difficult for people who worked for a long time always in the same way.
so it's a question of the next generation actually getting into controlling.
Maybe, or yeah.
I think following in that idea, I think that the biggest the company or the organization, the slower it will adapt to AI. Because you always have resistances. I think that the entrepreneurs have to adapt as soon as possible, and the biggest the company, I think that workers are like, if I don't use AI to do that, I will have 1 week of work, which is assured. If I use AI, I am quite scared that it will literally do it in a few hours.
I don't believe that we have a lot of obstacles right now. People already very fast accepted OpenAI in all of their smartphones from 18 to 75. Because you can also talk to it and then it's making it. I always compare it with my parents who are like end of 60. And this is the only app which they really started to use, which I was offering them since 18 years. And on the other hand, I think people know the benefit of it right now. Most of people are using it for email, writing, making maybe a private decision or some conflict guidance. And most of people are not aware of it to connect it and have fear, as was said, to connect it with their real ecosystems. I was with my dog talking about it. He asked me how I am, and I told him that what we are doing. And then he always asked me, like, are you nearby a depression? Because you have I have the feeling that you think that AI is overtaking the whole world. And then I realized that there are two different worlds. Yeah, the tech people like us who are right now seeing also the massive increase of growth. And even when I talk to dev guys, they say to me, yeah, it was even a surprise for us what happened in the 18 months. And as me as a business guy then makes me alert. If the dev guys also say, okay, it's faster than they were expecting, then this something is happening. But most of people are not aware of that. And I think most of people here in the room are aware of that. But still, I think the next 2-3 years, people will start to use it with customer services, the WhatsApps, the Facebooks, the big ones will start to implement it, and then it will run. And then the mass adoption will come. But again, always in a comfort zone, because people are lazy and they just see the value of it should do something for me, not that I need to take care something for it.
A comment from my side. I try to see the world always from a big picture perspective, from macroeconomic perspective. And if you go to throwback, technology adoption takes always time. The world works in like key waves. When we see when the steam machine was invented in the 1800s, there was a huge technology adoption happening where human labor work going to be replaced by steam machine. Henry Ford implemented the shop floor for the automotive car production and so on. And right now, a new big technology shift is also happening in the AI space. And the world works in big cycles. Right now we are entering a new big, I would say, cycle of the AI, where I'm 100% sure, maybe this not in our generation, but from a science fiction perspective also way, that it's just a matter of time where robots and technology will one day like replace, I would not say replace the human being in the normal way, in the normal way of work, but they will definitely have a huge impact. And then it has also, like, from the economical perspective, we see the global world, there's always like some big shifts. We are right now living in the big shift, economic and the capitalism shift, where the world is riding that wave, where capitalism, money is like one of the big incentives for innovation. But in the future, I think when robots taking over of the human being and everybody has a robot, it's not about anymore about having who has the most money, because it's all about who controls the system and who has access to energy. And that's the reason why you recently saw like SpaceX had a crazy IPO, even they don't make so much revenues, because like Elon Musk, he is way more visionary. He sees the world not in the next 50 years, he sees like the legacy, the next cycle of the next 500 years or more above. And one of the key currency in the world in the future are literally energy. And that's the reason he right now entering the space and so on. And even right now, in the short term, where we can see right now, one of the global energy consumption will increase over time, more heavier, because more and more data centers are coming up. And this is like one of the key, I would say, currency in the world is like energy.
Energy will certainly be a huge topic, right? And I think renewable energy will play a big part in that as well. But maybe closing question to all of you. 5 years from now, you kind of already answered it, but maybe you find even further hints for us. But 5 years from now, which AI agent use case will have become completely ordinary? And what are we estimating about its impact today? What do you think? Maybe start with Rafael.
I pray and I hope that I will have an awesome tax agent advisor who's taking care of all of my paper bills.
That will be a true relief for, I think, every one of us. Anna.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I mean, if you have kids, then all this work, what you have to do around schools and doctors and afternoon activities and all of that, it should be automatically reading everything, my phone calls, listening and everything, and bring it into my calendar and organize everything and call the doc, make the appointments automatically. And all the things, that would be amazing for me.
So the working mums, organizational chaos sorting thing.
I was actually talking to Tina Klüver, I don't know if you know her. She had this idea to implement, and she's also working now. I think that would be amazing.
I would have a huge community for that.
I believe like technology adoption will be stronger, and AI agents will have a critical part in our everyday life, even in the way of working and how we communicate. For example, if I schedule let's say a dinner meeting with a friend or calling the restaurant something, my AI agent will manage this. I don't need to do it myself anymore.
I am with you. I think that in some way, unfortunately, in some way not. AI companions are going to be a thing in the next years. They will know a lot about ourselves, more even than what Google and the companies know about ourselves. And for me, that's probably it's going to be very, very convenient. So most of people is going to say, yes, this is worth it. And at the same time, I hope that in the following years, the open source models advance enough so there is this alternative that you can prevent this privacy leak by using an AI model that is in your machine. But we will see.
Yes, I'm happy to pick that up. Actually, you know, I cannot leave the panel without also give a little bit of a warning note to everyone that specifically, you know, I'm very much involved in the anti-money laundering regulation and stuff, and I think technology is overreaching into our human space, and we are giving up a lot of privacy without actually noticing it, and it's not healthy for us as, you know, democratic organizations and states. So invitation to everyone, you know, keep on clicking away the the privacy consents, for example, like WhatsApp. You don't permit WhatsApp on your address book, even if it's not convenient, right? So take care that you protect the last bit of privacy in this digital field, specifically being parents, and keeping in mind, you know, what you're doing today. Your kids will have lost and presumably not get back. You also wanted to add something, Rafael. I don't want to cut you off.
No, sorry, I was actually asking what would be your point, like what's important. So thank you for giving us this cautious advice.
Yes, so and I think the space also needs more people having an eye on these developments. Specifically, everybody is dreaming of the personal assistant agent, and yeah, it might be that they take decisions for you, who you will meet and whom you will not meet, which are not really in your personal interest.
I mean, you can also always work like with gatekeepers, that it's not going directly through, that you always keep being the gatekeeper. But well,
keep being yourself, you know, your own gatekeeper.
Okay.
That's right. All right. Thank you very much. By this, I would open the floor to questions, if you have any.
So we have time for 2 questions, if you have any. Sorry. Well, looks like they had a pretty good, clear picture about everything from the panel discussion. So we'll take a short 15-minute break. So do feel free to direct your questions directly at them if you can catch them around. And then we'll meet back here in 15 minutes. We're trying to stay on schedule, so we want to start the next sessions on time, requesting you all to be back in exactly 15 minutes. And a gentle reminder about the AI Agent Summit 2027. The link is already up on Luma, so you can get your super early bird tickets already. Thank you all once again for being here, and a big round of applause to the panelists on stage. Thank you for patiently answering all the questions. Thank you.